quick. We're going live on the Facebook. We are connecting. And Bubs is barking.
Yeah.
Here we go. What's up, everybody? Here we are. It is another Friday Night Shenanigans episode. We're stoked to have everybody. We're live on the scene with, one of the greats of the sport. We have Denny Brauer on the other side of the line right now. We're super pumped to have Denny Brauer come back on the show for the second time. And we have lots of questions of what's going on in the professional scene. And we're going to break into that. So we're going to give people a little bit of time to break in and kind of join into the show. And we're going to kick that off. So let's go.
So I guess the first thing we gotta talk about as people come on is has there been any really good local fishing reports that have come back? I know it was really hot for a second, and then it kind of cooled off a little bit. We're kind of all over the place right now. Our fisheries they're in all different stages, which is kind of neat.
The gunpowder's fishing good from what I hear.
That's awesome.
People catching giant snakeheads. Denny, you ever do any snakehead fishing?
Here we go.
Not on purpose, but I hear it's a lot of fun.
I don't do it on purpose either, but yeah, it is fun.
None of us do it on purpose, but we catch them.
It's supposed to be really good eating, but I never ate one.
Wait, you've never eaten a snakehead?
No.
Wait, you've been catching a snakehead in Maryland for all these years, and you haven't eaten a snakehead yet?
No, they're too creepy, man. They creep me out.
Come on, bro. It's the best eating in Maryland right now. It really is, though.
I'll just try to kick them off my boat
If
as
we
quick as
could
possible.
send a fillet to Denny Brauer and it not be rotten by the time it got to him, I would totally do it, because it is the best fish fillet in Maryland.
I got a
in the
vacuum
East Coast,
sealer.
Dude.
We can make that happen.
Straight up.
It is really good.
You'd have to package it in some whatever the
Dry
freaking
ice or
ice blocks
something.
or whatever it is.
Can we
But
go to the comments and see?
Yeah, let's get started.
hey, what's
with
up,
Denny.
Craig? We got Craig in the house. Craig Gordon. Craig picked up his shirts the other day. We had a great time
We gotta get
talking
Denny a
about some of the
shirt.
stuff going on. Absolutely, I would love that.
I sent them a bunch of Old Bay stuff. Did you get a bunch of Old Bay stuff in the mail, Denny?
I did.
There you go. How'd you like it?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
There you go.
Awesome.
I don't know if you like Old Bay or not, but we're Maryland, so we sent you a little Maryland in a box, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little on the tangy side, a little bit spicy, but man, it hits those taste buds just right.
All right, I think you guys ready to get rocking and rolling with the questions?
sir.
So
Let's rock and
again,
roll,
for those
baby.
of you that are just joining us, if you don't know who the man on the right side of your screen is, I would advise you to do a little bit more research, because we're joined by Mr. Denny Brauer himself, Bassmaster Classic champion, numerous tournament wins. We've kind of been through this with Denny before, and it's just an awesome blessing that we have him back on. So. We're going to answer some of our questions, and then for the viewers, we'll get to some of your questions as well. But the first question, we're going to come right out of the gate with it. So, Denny, what's your opinion on a lot of the drama that's going on in the pro bass fishing world? You got guys talking about, live scope is awful, people hating on one thing or another, James Watson getting kicked off of MLF. I mean, have you ever been around bass fishing in a time where there was drama like this, or is this a new thing?
I don't know if I've ever seen it quite as intense as it is right now. And I think some of that's probably with social media, that just enhances the audience compared to what it was years ago. But there's always been, dispute about one thing or the other, and everybody had a different opinion. Anytime something new did come out, I remember when flipping was controversial, people thought that ought to be outlawed because it was too big an advantage. And, over the years, there was always something, but, whether it was horsepower on boats or whatever it was. But this deal right now with forward facing sonar, man, it's really opinionated. Guys are very strong one way or the other.
Yeah, it really is, and we've talked to a number of guys on the Elite Series and that are really good in the Opens, and a couple folks that are part of the MLF, and everyone has a different opinion. I mean, and the interesting thing is, not all the time, but a lot of time, a lot of the age of the angler draws a lot of the opinion. A lot of the younger guys are very, yeah, this is great and this is an awesome thing. And a lot of the older guys that have been around for 15, 20, 30 years are like, man, this stuff is not good. And I'm wondering if it is they're not able to fish their strengths. The guys that have, and I won't say the gentleman's name, but we had a gentleman on the show a couple times. And he had a very, very good point. He said, look, it took me 30 almost years to learn how to fish like this. And now you got guys that are 19, 20, less than 25 years old that come in that can basically outperform me because they don't need that instinct that it took me 25 years to learn. They can get up there with this technology and go absolutely destroy people. But yeah, it's really interesting to see that from how that debate kind of follows the age lines, because it seems to be that way. A lot of the younger anglers are really pro, and a lot of the older guys, even Randy Blaukett's a good example, are very anti forward facing. So it's interesting to see that.
Yeah, I imagine if I was still fishing tournaments like I used to, I'd probably be a little more opinionated on the subject. And I hate not being, but I really don't. I guess I see both sides of the argument. So many of the techniques, I think, do take a lot of time to get to that comfort level and to really understand all the little things that do make the difference. And I think the only way you can truly get to that level is time on the water. And I think what a lot of people hold against the younger guys that are so good at the forward facing is they don't have to put the time in on the water. They understand that technology so well, and they've exposed a whole element of fishing that was kind of an unknown. All these suspended fish out over deep water, and those were fish that were not really being fished for before. So it's not only opened up a new technique, but it's exposed a lot of fish to being caught that could not have been caught any other way. So I like I say, I understand both sides of it. I see the negative, and I also see the positive. You hate to hold back change in technology. If you look at our sport over the years, it's always been advancing forward. But when have we gone too far? I guess I'm not the person to really give that answer. It all depends on the tournament organizations. They're the ones that got to, put a throttle on it or give it the go signal, one of the two. So just abide by the rules, whatever they are.
Do you think that there should be limitations on the forward-facing sonar, though? Like, do you think that guys should be able to have 3, 4, and 5 different FFS transducers on their boat?
Well, who would have thought of that 3, 4 years ago when it first come out? And now they keep pushing it forward, trying new things to make it even better than what it was. So, I don't know that answer. I really don't. But yeah, it's given some guys a distinct edge. Now, there's always been some guys have a distinct edge. Guys that had more money than others, et cetera, could have a bigger boat, a faster motor, better electronics, better odds and reels, et cetera. So you're never ever going to have a totally equal playing field. But it's totally up to the tournament organization to set the parameters of what you can and can't do. So if they think, more than one transducer when it comes to forward facing should be outlawed, no, I don't have an issue with that at all. It levels the field. Any way you can make the field more level, I think the fairer the tournament is, and that's the way you need to keep it.
Yeah, nobody wants to just see one style of fishing all the time. Like, it's nice to see a little variety. Some guys fishing shallow, some fishing out deep, some fishing top water, some throwing jigs, Now it's kind of like you see just a lot of the same thing. But I'm going to change the subject. And we have a question for you, Denny. So we had like a massive amount of rain here in Maryland like a week or two ago. When it rains really heavy like that and the water muddies up really good, like how do you adjust? Like what do you do? Do you like the muddy water? You look for clear water? Like what's your go-to on that?
If the water's cold, by cold, like 55 degrees or lower, I'm going to try to find the clearest water I can find and get away from that dirty water. But if you got water temperature that's, above that and up in the 60, 70 degree range, man, I'm going to that dirty water. It's going to push them fish shallower. It's going to push them up into newly flooded stuff. Because usually when you get muddy water, you also get a rise in the lake level.
Yep.
And that automatically pushes more fish to the bank. And you a lot of times have current coming in the back of the pockets, the back of the creeks and that can set up a dynamite situation to where you can just run a pattern to where those different current seams are, where those fish are stacked up.
Man, that was some juice right there, man.
Yeah, it's funny you say that too, because like with tidal, the water is never clean like it is in like Clear Lake or a place like Smith Mountain Lake, Lake Anna, or some places that are semi-local to here. So like even on tidal water, there's always like, well, what's really muddy? I don't consider it muddy until there's less than 6 inches of visibility, because here fish are just used to
so
staying.
Personally, bro, the GP though in general is 6 inches to a foot of visibility.
Right,
Normally.
all the time.
No,
I
you
mean,
can
all
find
the
clear
time.
Right.
So, like, what are you asking for?
You can find clear water.
I'm just like
You can find clear water in one part.
I'm saying until I drop my bait off the side of the boat and I can't see it, I'm good. Like I'm
Which
fine.
I gotta say is one of the most unique features of the GP, in my opinion. You can go to fishing murky, muddy water on one side and then swap to the other side and have crystal clear water that you can see 10 feet down to the bottom too, within 200 or 300 yards. It is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It really is.
Dude, that actually brings up our next question in a different kind of way. It's a good transition into it, and because our next question was, do you downsize baits when you get into like a clear water situation? Do you ever downsize? Like, say you're throwing a jig, you're not getting bit. Do you still keep flipping, just downsize it, or do you just like, there's no flip and bite, you go do something else?
It depends a little bit on the fishery. Yeah, some fisheries, I'm going to downsize from the beginning. If they're tough, if they're fishing small, if they're getting a lot of pressure, the clear water, once in a while, you're going to have to go with a little lighter line and downsize your bait in order to get the bites. But and the weather situation plays a big part. If it's a positive weather scenario and the fish should be biting, a lot of times you can get by with bigger baits. But if you got a cold front scenario, maybe you need to downsize in order to get them to bite the bait. So there's a lot of factors that come into play. But clear water, you better be on your toes and be thinking, because that can throw a lot more obstacles at you.
That's what I figured. Does Denny Brauer throw a Ned rig and shaky head? Do you?
I used to really kind of shy away from anything involving spinning tackle, although after I'd missed winning Angler of the Year real close a couple times, I decided it was real important to have a limit every day. And so the year that I actually won the Bassmaster Angler of the Year, I want to say 30% of the fish I caught that year, I caught on spinning tackle and a little tube to get me by on those days when I was really having a hard time. But once I accomplished that goal, I pretty well laid that stuff down and realized my odds of winning weren't that good with it. And I was going to pick up the bigger baits and try to fish for bigger fish, especially as size limits, creel limits came down and down in tournaments. When you only have 5, they better be big fish.
We had 2 comments in here. It says spinning rods suck, and it says stay away from fairy sticks.
Well, when I moved down here to Amstead, the water was so clear that there's times if you don't downsize and use small baits, you're not going to get bit. And what really got me started fishing more spinning tackle was the wintertime bite, when we had fish getting down there from 30 to 75 feet. And it was just so much easier to take a drop shot and drop down and get in front of those fish and be able to catch them. It just gave me a lot more confidence. So yeah, going back to the Ned rigs and all that, and throwing a shaky head, yeah, I do all that stuff, but out of desperation more than out of something I prefer.
Denny,
Denny,
from a man that catches most of his fish in 5 to 6 feet of water, what is it like catching a fish in 75 feet of water? It's like, I hear that and I'm like, that happens?
Yeah,
we don't
even
know what I'm
have
saying? Like, we
75
have
feet of
nothing
water.
like that around here. So, like, that's incredible.
Yeah, we got 200-foot plus water in this lake, and there's really no thermocline most of the time, so the fish have the ability to live super deep. I've actually caught bass on the bottom 87 foot deep before here, so that's unusual, but they do get down there. A lot of bait gets down there. If you start looking at your electronics, you'll see a heck of a fishery normally from 55 to 75 feet, where there's a lot of big pods of bait and just a lot of fish down there.
So one of our viewers, Lloyd, is actually the president of my club, and he's from the Midwest, and he said that you were a hammer on Lake of the Ozarks. What was the best day you ever had on Lake of the Ozarks?
I don't know if I ever had a bag much over 30 pounds there. I did catch a fish almost 10 pounds in a tournament. I did catch one over 11 pounds practicing for a tournament there, which, those are northern species of fish, so those were pretty well fluke catches, but you could catch a lot of 5-pound fish there, but it was hard to catch fish, 7, 8 pounds, which was one of the reasons I left there and came to Lake Amistad. I like fishing for those big double-digit fish.
It's funny you said 30 pounds.
I
We
was
all
gonna
just
say,
shook our
like,
heads.
dude,
like,
everybody over here was like, what? Like,
Denny, to us mortals, a 30-pound bag is pretty good.
so
I gotta say, and I'll try to tag him in the comments. I don't know if it'll work, but the only person that I know of around our region that have caught a 30-plus pound bag is actually Victor Depp with Fish Everything, who makes a big glide bait in our region, a big swim bait. And him and my buddy Chris Groff went out and they caught a 36-pound bag
Recently.
Now,
Like last
it
week or
was
something.
for 6 fish and not 5 fish. It was for 6 fish and not 5 fish. But do the math. And their biggest fish was 8.7.
that's a 6-pound average, no matter how you look at
Giant.
it.
In Maryland.
Giant. And now, I don't know if it was in Maryland, Virginia, Delaware. I don't know. It was in the DMV.
That's a big bag in Maryland.
So, and we're not going to put that out on the internet. However, but dude,
You just
Crazy.
put it on the internet.
I said the DMV.
Look, I know we asked Denny this question before, and I know it's not on our list, but I just want to know more about when Denny came down. You fished the, I believe it was 1991 Classic here on the Chesapeake. Is that correct? Or the one I believe Ken Cook won.
Yeah, Ken Cook won that one.
Yeah. Did you fish there? Did you fish here?
Yeah, I did.
How'd you like it?
I did kind of like the way it fished. I really thought that was back when we had a week pre-fishing, like a month before the Classic, and I really thought I was going to win the event. I really had caught a lot of good fish, and I caught them back where is it Gunpowder or one of them that they block you off?
The Bush. That's the Bush River.
Oh, the bush.
Yep.
Where you can only go in at certain times and this and that.
Yeah, so the military owns both shorelines, and they'll close it off because they fire munitions either over the river or into the river. So if the tide's really low and you think you might hit the bottom, don't run there because there is stuff to hit.
You
Mustard
could,
gas.
you could or could not pick up a mortar.
Yes, yes.
Well, that's where I ended up finding these fish, and they had a big rain right before that Classic, if you remember. And I guess there's a big sewage plant in the back of the Bush River, and it all flooded out, and everything was a big algae bloom, and you could not get a bite back there. And I got trapped in there and they would not let me out because of the times or whatever. So it didn't end up good.
Oh, wow. That's an
Wait,
interesting
so
story.
you ended up getting trapped in a spot because of the overflow of septic in Maryland?
No.
No,
They shut
Aberdeen
it down.
shut it
They
down while he was back
APG
there.
shut the river down because they were firing or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean that's pretty common for sure.
There's certain tributaries and stuff in that area that you can't even go in because
So this isn't on our list, but I'm just curious because I think you fished all of the 3 major tours between Bass, Major League Fishing, and FLW back when it was still around. What was your favorite tour to fish and why? I mean, what was the difference? Because I came up when I first got started. I fished FLW and the college series and stuff like that, and I really, really enjoyed it. But now that it's gone, it seems like bass is kind of coming back as the major playing field now with the issues that MLF's having. So if you could pick your favorite, what would that be?
Oh boy, I started with bass and really enjoyed having a good career there. And of course, most of my major accomplishments were with bass, so that's where your real fond memories lie. But then FLW came along, and as anglers and competitors, we were wanting, more opportunities to try to basically make more money and increase our income. So it worked out good. There for several years, I was fishing bass, fishing FLW, plus filming my show for ESPN. So I'd be gone 2-3 months at a time, and it got pretty crazy. But I really enjoyed being on the water and staying that busy. I think I fished better because of that. So, of course, the last few years when Major League came on, that was a different type of format. But all three of them were very enjoyable to fish. And but if I had to pick one, obviously it'd be where I started, bass.
I see Lloyd still sticking to his story about Lake of the Ozarks. He's still saying no, he was a hammer. Denny was a hammer on Lake of the Ozarks, and then Tony
I
said,
got to Lake of the Ozarks for a lot of years, so I should have known a little bit about the place. Yeah, and it's still a great lake. It's got a lot of 3 to 5 pound fish in it. And you look at the tournament standings that they have up there. It always takes a good bag of fish to do well. But it's got a lot of boat traffic, and that was one of the reasons we left there. It's just a little too much recreational traffic, and here on the border we got other type of traffic, but we don't have a lot of boat traffic.
got you. Got you.
Yeah, true.
Denny, I have a question for you that is kind of off the topic of what is on our question sheet here.
Yeah, totally.
So you do fish a local body of water, and you're accustomed to some of the fish that you catch. And I will say that in the past 3 to 4 years fishing here in Maryland on some of the bodies of water, and you guys know where I'm going with this right
Sure.
now. You can hear where I'm going with this right now.
This is what we talked about earlier?
Yes.
Okay. I can't believe I'm talking to Denny Brauer.
When you're out fishing, man, from the time 4 years ago when I would go out and fish in the spring, I would catch a bag of 4 pounders and 5 pounders, 3 pounders and 6 pounders. It would be very consistent on the large bellied fish that I would catch. And now it seems that I'm fishing in this area, and the most amount of fish that I'm catching, I'm still catching them on the same baits that I'm throwing, but it's very consistently 1.5 pounders, 2 pounders, 3 pounders. It seems like the 5s and the 6s and the larger fish have really faded away in a way. I'm not saying they're not there, but it hasn't been the same. Have you found that to be on your home lakes? We have how do I say this to make it make sense?
They stock the river every year.
They stock the river every year with smaller fish. Do you think that having smaller bucks go into your system and compete against big females, do you think that makes your fishery different?
It can, because you're only going to raise so many pounds of bass per acre, and it's no different from raising cattle, deer, whatever. You got to have something there for them to eat, and if you don't have the forage there, you're just not going to have enough big fish in the area, and little fish can starve them out. I remember when I was on Lake of the Ozarks, the spotted bass, Kentucky bass, got to be in such a headache and getting so thick, the Game Commission had to ask themselves, do you want 10 5-pound bass per acre, or do you want 51-pound spotted bass per acre? You're only going to raise the other. And so they want to limit off to where they were hoping crappie fishermen would start keeping some of the spotted bass so that, it'd give the largemouth more food to eat. So there's a lot of variables there. It can also go in cycles, different spawns. You can miss a year's class of spawn, and it can show up at any time. That's a hard question to answer from body of water to body of water. What you see here is you'll see a wave of them giant fish come up, and all of a sudden everybody's catching 8, 9, 10-pound fish, and then it may be they'll disappear, and all people are catching are those 1 to 2 pounders. And why? Because they went down deeper where people weren't really fishing for them.
Dude, I gotta ask this question, and I know the name. It's not. That's his wife's account. He doesn't know how to use Facebook. No, I'm just messing with you, Chuck. But we got a good buddy, Chuck. He said, "Hey, Denny, I'm 60 years old, and I watched and admired your career. We all have confidence lowers. When do you decide diversity to move to another spot?" So it's kind of a two-part question, I think.
You're the flipping king. So when you decide to use something else other than a flipping bait, a jig, something like that.
Well, the conditions really dictate what you're going to use to start with. You know, we're 66 foot low right now on this lake, so you can imagine that flipping more than likely doesn't play a part on most of the lake. That said, I caught 17 the other day flipping bushes that probably hadn't seen daylight in 50 years that are now exposed. So you can always find something that's right, especially if there's dirtier water. But that's a question you can't really answer. It's got to be answered on the water. It's got to be developed. If you're not getting bit, do one thing. Doing one thing, you know, try something else. Don't get bullheaded. You know, there's a time to get bullheaded after you've tried a lot of other things, and then it may be time to go back to your confidence lure because you're going to fish it better and just try to dog through the day if it's a tournament day. And you'd be surprised how successful you can be, other than if you end up with 50 baits laying in the bottom of the boat that you tried, wasting a lot of time. So there's a do and you don't, but common sense just tells you so much on the water. If you're doing something that works, duplicate it. If it's a spot, duplicate it. If it's not working, try something else.
Did you ever, this is a personal question because I have been in this situation and I have got so much into flipping that I didn't even go try anything else, and I couldn't even put it down. Like, I just was like, I'm going, just stubborn with it. Have you ever been in that situation where you were like, man, I probably should have stopped flipping an hour ago? But, you know.
I think we're all guilty of trying to fish our favorite way too much at times. I think that's human nature, but to me, the flipping technique was just a tremendous technique in order to win with. It was a technique that really lended itself to catching bigger fish. And when it comes to the tournaments, the majority of them, I'm not saying all, once in a while you get into a point scenario where you had to be a little bit conservative, but the majority of them, I strictly wanted to win. So I was going to fish a technique that I thought would allow me to win. So I'd go try to find that type of water on the lake, whether it was running way upriver to find some dirtier water or heavier cover or getting away from the boat traffic or whatever the scenario might have been. I would intentionally seek out trying to make that flipping technique work. And it accounted for a lot of the success I had over the years. So yeah, the more success you have, the more confidence you're going to get, and the more prone you are to overfish the technique once in a while.
Yeah, I'm definitely very guilty of that.
That really brings me into my next question. And you kind of hinted toward it already, but this one's just a little bit different. So you already mentioned it a little bit, but when you always fish your strengths. And what I mean by that is, so like I'm a grass fisherman. Any lake that I go to, that's the first thing I want to find is grass. If you go to a place like Kentucky Lake when you were fishing on the tour, there's a good chance that tournament's probably going to be won on the ledges. If you know your strengths are grass or wood or whatever, do you still try to make your strengths work, or would you decide I'm going to go find ledges and fish ledges? In my case, it's grass. Like, let's say, for example, you know, I go to, I don't know, I'll come up with a lake that's got grass. Santee Cooper. I'm assuming Santee Cooper has grass. It may not. But most folks that fish Santee Cooper, it's a big flipping lake. It's a huge, like Rob was saying, flipping a jig and stuff like that. When would you decide, hey, my strengths are this type of structure, but this lake is going to be one doing this? When would you make that decision to go fish that way?
Well, a little bit is the history of the body of water. You know how tournaments have been won there in the past. You know what season it is, or is the grass even going to be a player? Is there enough grass there to really spread the pressure out, or is there just a few patches and it's going to get beat up? And maybe the cypress trees, Santee Cooper, where there's hundreds of them, would be a better player. I always tried to analyze what type of cover it's going to take to win the tournament. And that's what I was going to seek out. You know, even a lake like Sam Rayburn, depending on the water level, was it going to be willow trees or was it going to be buck bushes? It could make a lot of difference. Or if it's a different elevation, maybe it's going to be the hay grass. You know, you get a lot of variables. And of course, if it was lower, then it could be hydrilla out offshore. So every scenario is a little bit different there. But man, it sure helps to have confidence. And it really helps to have confidence in doing a lot of different things, even if it is with one technique. In other words, don't get locked into just fishing that grass. Get out there and get that confidence in that wood cover, whether it's laydowns, whether it's, cypress trees or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I definitely I'm the guy that no matter where it is that I go, and especially on the Potomac, my club just left there. All I did in practice, I went down and practiced for 2 or 3 days, and I wanted to find grass. Now it worked out. I mean, I got second in the tournament, had the only limit, but I found one stretch of docks that I just happened to fish, and there were fish on it. So I kind of wish I would have gone back and found some more docks, because over half of my limit came off of one dock. So I feel like I probably could have done myself some justice by going and fishing a little bit more hard cover instead of just finding all the grass in the Potomac River. But I appreciate your answer, because I definitely, like Rob was kind of saying earlier, I get that tunnel vision with grass. It's like, okay, I'm around grass, I'm going to try to make them bite. And that kind of leads me into the next question.
Well, quick, if you want, before I forget, Adam, there's a whole conversation going on in the comments now after Denny was talking about boat traffic, and a lot's being brought up about kayak fishermen. And I wonder what Denny thought about. I mean, it's nice to see the kayaks out there, but sometimes, I don't know how it is in Texas.
I'm just gonna say it right up. I'm gonna say it right in front of Denny. Denny, be prepared. Get the fuck out of the freaking channel, bro.
They definitely.
I was not gonna say it like that, but I was gonna ask Denny.
It just is, dude. Just get out of the channel, dude. You can float in 4 inches of water. Why are you in the channel, bro?
You're really gonna start something on the comments now, Chad. Good Lord, bro. At least for 20 minutes in, I think so.
We definitely and that's kind of to Chad, not to go down this rabbit hole, but that's to Chad's point, is a lot of the Upper Bay is, you can't just run your boat where there's water. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. There's channels clearly marked, and we have a lot of people, and it's not just the kayakers. I'm a duck hunter, but I see it happen all the time.
Hold up.
Pleasure boaters.
We have to be honest. We're talking to Denny. We are definitely running in the 6 mile an hour zones, the 6 knot zones at, I don't even know what knot it is. I'm going about 50 miles an hour across
the tournament.
But not in a tournament, though.
Not in the tournament.
Correct, yeah.
But on a daily basis, when we're fishing the GP, it says 6 knots. I'm running 30 to 50. It just is what it is.
But there's background information to that, though. So
let's talk about it.
Not so long ago, the Gunpowder River used to be, you could run all these little canals and these flat areas, and you could run it all day.
I'm not a bad guy, but I'm responsible.
Recently, like in the last couple years, one person who has
he owns a kayak ranch.
One person who has, I guess, powerful friends just lobbied hard enough to make an entire couple 100 acres of canals and all this other stuff 6 mile an hour. So a lot of people who've been running it for 100 years know how to run it and all that good stuff. So there's always a debate in our local fishery on can you run it? Can you not run it? But in the tournaments, hey, the state law says, and that's what it is.
Yeah, you got a 6 knot in a tournament, but if it's not a tournament, I'm guilty of that. Well, a lot of times to even get back there, you have to plane out, or you can't get back there.
That's part of it too. Is a lot of these areas, it's 6 inches deep. You're not idling back there without burying your prop in the mud. So that's why it was ran for so many years, because you can. Everyone knows you're on plane. You don't need as much water. It's always an interesting debate.
But my question that Denny originally was for Chad went on his rant was, do you see a lot of kayak traffic these days. Like, we ever gonna see Denny Brauer fishing from a kayak or?
No, you will not, because if I got in one, I might not get back out. Not that I'm saying it's a bad thing, because they can reach some places where it's hard to get at with any other type of flotation device, obviously. And we got quite a few of them here on Lake Amistad. But we're such an open water lake that the only time it's a real hassle is early light in the morning. You're hoping they all have some type of running light so that they don't get run over, because of where a couple of the ramps are. They like to cross the open water there. You really have to be on the lookout for some of them, because they do not have their self lit up at all. They think they're invincible, I guess. But sooner or later, one of them is probably going to get run over unless they start enforcing, having lights on the kayaks.
Well, that was the other part of my question, was that here in Maryland, I don't know about Texas, they don't have to get no kind of boater's license or take any kind of courses or nothing.
No
You
lights.
just get,
We have the same
you can rent
issue
a kayak
here.
up. That kayak renter place now, like on a Saturday, there's like 50. Like they're just going right down the main channel. Like it's kind of getting a little out of control. They should put
It
some
does get a little
regulations
bit
on
of a
that.
safety issue at times. I mean, I don't know. I don't complain about it because I try to run as far away from the ramp as possible when I fish. You guys know that, but
Sorry.
I
I was
guess-
like pushing like.
It's actually a 3-point question, because the other question would be like, do you own a tin boat at all, Denny? Do you ever do any John boat fishing?
That's how I started out years ago, with a 12-foot John boat with a trolling motor on it. I fished tournaments out of it for a lot of years before I finally went to a brand new Ranger, so that was quite a change. But I've not had one since. No.
No.
Man,
The tin boat scene
I-
is coming back.
yeah, the tin
back.
boats
It
are
is,
coming back
but-
a lot.
dude, these aluminum hulls, they really need to do some improvements. Like, as far as a bass boat aluminum hull, they need a lot of improvement.
Yeah,
But as far as decking out a John boat and going out and fishing, I personally feel that if you're fishing a local fishery, when you go out and you go fishing and then there's that dude in that John boat that's to the right of you, you should worry about that guy.
That's
Yeah,
me, man.
right.
That's me.
You should worry about that guy. I believe in John boat fishing. I
Yeah.
believe that you can be competitive in John boats.
So somebody asked a question. Well, they made more like of a comment that I really didn't want to bring up, and we talked about this off the air. But somebody called Denny Brower the tube man. So
Hey,
we
what's
might as
up,
well
Brian?
Just get it out there and talk.
We
about
got
it.
Brian Dyson up here, Bob, Little John.
Bob said something about Trey McKinney got a penalty today.
Yeah, for running the bridge.
We got a whole bunch of comments going on here.
Yes, sir.
Hey, if you guys got any questions for Denny, because we don't have them much longer, ask them now. If you ask a good question, we would definitely ask them.
We got Denny till about 9 o'clock. So
Here's
if
your
you guys
chance to
have
ask
any
them.
questions, show them, throw them up in the comments right now.
They already started.
We got one coming in. Brian, what's going on, dude?
So my question, and this will be quick because I know you ran an Evinrude for a long time. I have an Evinrude on my Ranger. I guess what was your opinion when they closed up shop? I mean, it seemed very abrupt, and I don't get it personally. I mean, I know they fought the 4-stroke thing for a while, but I don't know. It seemed like it just seems like they could have brought it back and made it a better product than what they did.
Yeah, I was with Evinrude my whole career. I remember when OMC basically went under and was bought out. They were closed for a year, and so I went and bought a Mercury and ran it where I'd have service on tour that year. And then when Bombardier bought them and they got back into business, they came back to me and I signed back up with them and I ran them throughout my whole career until all of a sudden one day they decided to close the door, and that came as a shock to a bunch of guys. Not too many people knew that was coming down the deal, and they went through some hard years when they introduced the FIC technology.
I
They
had
a
one
lot
of those.
issues with that, and but they really had some good motors too. Any company when they introduce new technology, they can have some issues. So they were a great company to work with. I really enjoyed the people I worked with there. But once they went under, that threw everybody into shock. And luckily, I had some good relationships at Mercury from over the years, and I've been with Mercury ever since, and absolutely love their engine. And I can honestly say, in the several years I've been running it, I have not had one single issue. And as much as I fish, that says a lot.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
What do
We
you
have
think
some
of
questions
the?
rolling in.
What do you think of the new BRP motor that they've come out with? I think it's the Rotax or the underboard thing. Have you seen that?
I have seen that, but I really do not know anything about it.
So we had Andy Hauser from Team Marine. If you haven't had a chance to look at his channel, it's a really informative, good channel on
Definitely
YouTube.
check out Team Marine on YouTube if you haven't, man. Andy Hauser is the man in the marine industry.
Yeah, he's very involved, very smart guy, but he's very wide open about his opinions too. So if you're looking for some entertainment, I would definitely check out his opinion on that. But
You can check him out on Bass and Beer Radio on YouTube. You
Yep.
can watch our episode with him, get a taste.
Dude, we really opened up a can of worms with this kayak thing. This is getting crazy. People are like, run them over,
Yeah, you
spray them with
kayakers,
water.
bro, I'm telling you, if you're in the channel and I'm in the channel, I'm running you over. Just get out the way.
Said that kayakers no etiquette on the water. Oh, it's getting crazy on there with that. But I did see some questions if you scroll back up because I want to see if we can answer some questions. So Brian Dyson asked, did Denny Brauer ever fish the Gunpowder River when you were here? That's a local river that's tributary off Chesapeake, but that's the one we fish mostly around here.
Yeah, is that the one close to the city?
No, that's the Patapsco where the bridge fell down.
Yeah.
If you were on Bush River, it would be the next one south.
Okay.
The next river south.
Yeah, I fished it. I fished North Bay up there?
Northeast River.
Northeast.
Northeast River, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Those are some of the areas, obviously, when you got a week, you're going to run around, you're going to look about everything. But that's been a lot of years ago. So really, the Bush River and that Northeast Bay area, I guess those are the two areas I remember the best from when I was there.
Did you enjoy fishing on the East Coast, the tidal rivers that we had?
You know, the first tournament I fished out there was on the James River, and I'd never been to tidal water before, and I never caught a fish during the whole tournament. And on my drive back home, I decided I was never going to fish another professional tournament. And by the time I got home, I decided I just really had to learn a little more. And so over the years, once I figured tidal water out, to me, it was the easiest water in the world to fish. Get up in the vegetation on high tide and fish wood on low tide, and you were probably going to get by just fine. And I ended up winning the tournament on the Neuse River, the Potomac River. Had some good experiences after that, and had a lot of good events.
Denny just said everything I know about fishing tidal water, and I've been fishing it 20 years, and he said it in one sentence. He's exactly right. Dude, there's a couple good questions. I seen somebody was asking about, and now I know this because, but Denny, you're known to chase a couple people that move in on your spots, chase them out of your spots, the intimidator.
I love it.
Well, once in a while, you got something you kind of need to defend a little bit, and it's a situational deal. If they weren't there the first day and you're leading the tournament, they certainly shouldn't be there the second day. And so once in a while, you just got to give them that look or give them a little direction on where to go.
That happened today, actually, on
Why'd you go
the
over there?
St. John's
Do
River.
you remember that when that happened to us?
Mike
though?
Iaconelli actually tells
yeah.
a good story
I was about
you.
to jump out of the boat that day, if
Yeah.
you don't remember.
I remember. I mean, so the Potomac and the Chesapeake Bay are very different from anywhere else in terms of personal space when it comes to fishing. I mean, we'll have a grass bed that's 200 yards, but maybe let's just say it's 200 yards long and 200 yards wide, and there will be 50 boats.
Everybody, those 50
I mean, it's
boats are
unbelievable.
fishing the same damn grass bed.
Yeah, it gets very, very crowded. So it's definitely a unique place to fish, and I personally don't like it because, to me, like I want to go find something that I don't have to compete with 40 other boats that are throwing the same. We're fishing for the same fish. Like I don't like that, but that's just how it is around here.
100%.
I definitely want to hear one of you guys ask question 5.
I like question 5.
My favorite one.
Denny, as someone who fished professionally, are you still using the internet? Are you still using Google Maps to learn new techniques where you're fishing? And what are your favorite platforms to use when you find new information? Do you get on Google Maps? Do you look at Google Maps and use different forms of mapping on the internet to kind of locate points and offshore structure before you go fishing at different places?
Back when we were traveling around the country, when we were going to new bodies of water I'd never been to before, yeah, you'd look at Google Map and try to learn a lot about the area. But nowadays, with our technology, with Lake Master mapping and that, you can pull it up and you can just learn so much. And every little nook and cranny of the lake, it's a more valuable tool to me than anything else.
That's incredible.
So what about like techniques and stuff? So I'm a huge YouTube. I scour YouTube all the time looking for different techniques and stuff. Do you, like someone that fished at your level, I mean, do you guys do that, or do you kind of already know a lot of it before it comes onto the internet scene?
I think you never should stop learning. And I think there's new techniques that get developed. And if you can go on and watch somebody's video on how they fish a bait, it may open up a window of opportunity for you. It's something you may not ever use, but you've got that knowledge that you may figure out a time and a place where it's going to save the day. So no, I'm not afraid to go on and study some new techniques that I hear about. I'm not afraid to go out and try to develop new techniques. So, that's just all part of what I think is so unique about this sport. It's a sport that nobody's ever going to know all the answers. And even if you do, those answers are going to keep changing, right? Because the conditions keep changing, and we're fishing against something that's got a brain and moves around on its own. It's not like a stupid golf ball sitting on a tee.
Yes, sir.
Really, which is funny because I'm really bad at hitting a golf ball. But
you're already
I didn't mean about a golfer.
No. It's funny you say that because and it's like hunting. I call it the beast because it just makes me feel better about saying. But the beast always has a say, whether it's a deer, whether it's a duck, whether it's a fish. They always have at least 50% of a say on what's going on and whether they're going to eat or whether they're going to walk in that clearing or decoying your spread. And that's what makes it better when it actually really, really happens is, excuse me, and as a hunter, and I'm sure you can empathize with this, Denny, is like I always get, oh, well, why do you go out and harvest meat when you can just go buy it? And I'm like, because in order for me to harvest that, I'm a huge waterfowl hunter, so I've never killed a deer. I want to, but I haven't yet. That duck or that goose or whatever, and the fish is the same way, has to do everything wrong, and I have to do everything right. So the odds always favor the beast. They favor the fish, they favor the deer, they favor the duck. So that's why I think this sport's completely different than anything else. Like Denny said, it's truly, it's yes, you have an input, but they have more of an input than you, no matter how good you are. You still have to make that fish bite.
Denny,
what's up, Douglas?
Honestly, I'm changing the direction of this topic right now when I ask this question. Are you using forward-facing sonar over like side imaging, or are you using side imaging before you use forward-facing sonar? Well, does that make sense? Do you use side imaging to find stuff and then use forward-facing sonar to see if there's fish on it?
That's a good question.
Or do you kind of use forward-facing sonar the entire time, or are you still utilizing side imaging to find your structure?
I ran side imaging on 2 or 3 boats and liked it and was able to learn a lot about it. The boat I have right now, I just put forward facing the Mega Live on because it's just so easy for me to scan around and see where the hydrilla lines are, where the ledges are, and line up my cast so much better. And I can see what I'm looking at so much better on it than I could when I was looking at the 360. So I don't know whether that makes sense. And I think in combination, that's probably the way you really want to go. And if I was out fishing the tour yet, I would probably have both on my boat for certain situations. But on this here lake, that mega live, just looking out in front of the boat and seeing where my next cast is going to be is just such an asset.
And Denny, what do you think is the most universal? If any one of us sitting here could pick one form of sonar to use, what do you think we should pick? Is it forward-facing sonar, 360, side imaging? In your opinion, what should we all have?
Well, I think everybody needs traditional sonar. I think, that's what we've had for years, and you can learn so much from that. I still run traditional sonar and spend a lot of time with it when I'm out running the ledges looking for fish. That and down imaging, obviously, you can just learn so much from those right there. They're very valuable tools for me. So it's going to vary from individual to individual with probably what your upbringing was and what you spent the most time with. And because I've spent so much time with those, I really understand what they're telling me. And I'm at a comfort level. And that's the biggest thing, just to get to a comfort level with your electronics. And if you're not, get out there with somebody, have them show you, and get to where you get the full use out of them. Because they're just like the mapping. You can learn so much if you utilize it right.
Absolutely.
Is Denny Brauer ever get into the big swim bait game? You know, the big swim bait craze. Have
Yes,
you ever?
sir.
Oh yeah, big time down here. This is probably one of the most famous swim bait lakes there was when it was full, super clear, had a lot of cover. Man, you throw one of them big old tennis shoes by one of them trees that were submerged.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Be a giant come out of there and just eat it. It's still a good swim bait lake. We had a tournament here earlier this year, the 3-day event that I think it was one with 60-some pounds, and the majority of those were caught on a swim bait, throwing it parallel to bluffs. But water clarity has a lot to do with how good some of these lakes are for the swim baits. And with our lake low right now, we don't have the clarity that we did when it was full. So it's not quite as good with a swim bait, but this is still a good swim bait lake. And yeah, I've got a couple tackle boxes full of them in the boat.
Oh, there we go.
What kind of glide baits or paddle tails do you like to throw, Denny?
Well, I'm throwing Strike King's Rage Swimmer almost exclusively when I'm throwing that type of bait.
6 inches? Like a 5 or a 6 inch paddle tail?
I like the 6 inch the best, the 6 inch paddle tail. I just can do more with it. And I just think on this lake with the depths I'm fishing it just works out better. As far as the glide baits, I've got some that a friend handmade. Striking doesn't make a glide bait, so I fish them. My biggest problem, he keeps wanting to make me too big a glide baits, and man, I get tired of throwing them great big ones after a while. You really got to work. And, so
They wear you out.
Get some that are a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
I personally find that when you have some of those I find medium glide baits. I throw the bull shad trick shad a lot. That 6 inch glide, it has it's light, but it has a great action to it. It's not it doesn't overkill a lot of your baits.
I have thrown the bull shad a bunch too over the years, and it's a great bait, very well done. Built
Yes,
a
sir.
good.
Yeah, we had Mike Buckel on the show not too long ago, and he was talking about all kinds of different baits. And
He's a good guy.
I think him and Rob are best friends now after he came on the show. Because you
Denny
still talk to
Brauer
Mike
is
all
my
the time,
best friend.
Rob?
Mike Buckel is my second best friend.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just kidding. So, Denny, we had a question on here for you about jig head style and what's your go-to jig. I'm sure it depends on the situation and the conditions, but I mean, do you always have like a swim jig, football head jig, flipping jig tied on, or like you go straight to a flipping jig, or like what's the?
I usually have all three tied on, to be honest with you, on this lake because of the different type of cover we're getting. Some of them long extended points where I'm really going to be fishing the gravel, so to speak. I'm going to have a regular football jig tied on. If I'm up there flipping, I'm going to have my premier rattleback jig with the rattle tied on. But for probably 60% of my fishing, maybe more, I'm going to have the Denny Brauer structure jig tied on, just because we designed that for coming through hydrilla, and what we didn't know is how good it'd come through wood and everything else. So it's kind of a cross between all the different jigs, and probably the most versatile jig we have. So therefore, I probably fish it more than anything else in a 1/2 ounce and a 3/4, depending on whether I'm getting out on the ledges or whether I'm fishing it on cover.
Yeah, the Denny Brauer structure jig is my go-to jig. Green pumpkin with the red flare in there.
See, it's funny because we all have different opinions on this. Like for me, my do everything jig head style is the ball head. Like I just got we took a trip to Lake Anna earlier this year, which
But
is
it might not even be the ball head to the football head. It could be the rate of fall.
I don't know. I like the ball head because you can drag it on that gravel. Is it as good as a football head? No. Will it can come through the grass? Does it come through the grass like a swim jig? No. But I feel like to me it's the do everything jig. And I have a box full of the Denny Brauer structure jigs. I promise you. But for me, it's that ball and out jig that Gerald Swindle helped develop and the Buckeye Lures makes. Man, I love that thing because, like I said, if I have one jig rod all day and I'm only throwing one, not that I would, but if I am only throwing one, it's that ball head jig, and it comes through everything. You can skip it. It just does it all. I still think the Denny Brauer structure jig's a better jig.
I still got some jig questions real quick before we lose Denny. Do you ever use a pork trailer anymore? You see Uncle Josh is
that's a
back
good question.
out.
That's a really
pork
good
trailers
question.
are back. You still use a pork trailer? You just stick soft plastic?
No, I had a few cases of pork when I did make the move down here, and I had some guy contact me from California that offered me so much money for them. I shipped several cases of them out there, and I haven't used any since. We just got so many more options with plastic nowadays, and the plastics are so much better than what they used to be. So if I want a type of trailer that doesn't have a lot of action, I'm going to use the KVD chunk that we've got in our line of baits at Strike King. And most of the time I'm wanting action in the baits, I'm going to use the Rage chunk or something like that on the back end of the jig.
Yeah, pork isn't what it used to be anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I caught a lot of fish on pork over the years, and I'm sure it's still a great bait, and you can still catch a lot of fish with it. And at times, that little number 11 that Uncle Josh used to have made a pretty compact little package, and I'm sure that was part of the reason the fish really liked it and hung on to it real well too. And of course, we had soaked those jars in anise oil and those baits in the jar, and try to give them a little flavor, do different things back in the day. But
There's a little chunk
we have
baits in the jar that you don't see no more.
That's what we're talking about, the pork.
I know, but I be seeing them.
Chad's
on, like,
young. He don't remember Uncle
no,
Josh.
I don't see none of that. What I do see, I see on like reels and stuff like that on Facebook.
Uncle Josh is
before I
back.
see it.
He's back out. That's why I was asking Denny.
I've seen pork chunks, but it's like, are we bringing this back?
They should bring it back. It's different. What's old is new again. It's
You
like
used
the
to have
tube.
to like kind of
wild.
modify. I'm sure Denny remembers this, but you could modify the pork. You can cut pieces off and stuff like that, and modify it for like better hookups and all. But I think what Denny's saying is now you get a soft plastic chunk.
It's like the
Probably
mullet.
cheaper too.
Like the
than
mullet
buying
came
them.
back, dude. The mullet is sick. The mullet definitely came back. What else is gonna come back?
I don't know.
the bad thing about pork is it'd dry out when you'd make a run. A lot of times one of the legs would flip up over the hook, and you'd end up missing a fish because of that. So it had some negative aspects where you don't have a soft plastic.
Right. So that
you
pretty much answered my question.
Denny, could you grow a
Pretty
mullet?
good, actually.
Do you think you could grow a mullet down to the shoulders?
Oh boy,
He does. He
even asked that.
he did beat Ozzy Osbourne. We do know this.
Ozzy Osbourne.
So
Gotta teach
the last
us, yeah.
question we have on here, because we're coming up on your time, and I definitely don't want to make sure we hold you longer than we originally asked. We've kind of hit it a little bit earlier with the forward facing. Do you find yourself flipping and pitching less because of forward facing, or do you still do it just as much as you ever have?
Not because of forward facing. It's strictly the conditions. We get the right conditions, I'm gonna head to the bushes or whatever the conditions may be to, get the flip and stick out without a doubt. That's always going to be my favorite way to fish. It's going to be the way I'm going to try to fish if it's available. If it's not available, then, things like forward facing and other techniques do come into play.
Did Pete just get on 2 minutes ago?
He did.
Pete, you missed the whole interview.
That's awesome. And those are all the questions that we had, unless anybody has any last minute. I don't want to hold Denny for any longer than we already have, because we really appreciate you coming on the show. We don't want to steal your time. But this has been awesome. We're very, very happy to have you come on, not once, but twice on our show. And,
Wow.
I was talking about this earlier with the guys before you called in, is like, the last 2 years for me, I seem to have gotten a lot better at fishing, right? And I feel like a lot of that's because we get to talk to folks like you and David Fritz and Keith Carson, and we just get to pick your brain and hear this stuff. So hopefully, all our viewers that watch, they had their notepads out writing down some of your answers, because I can tell you a lot of the stuff that we've talked about on the first episode and this one, I've definitely I'm going to take a lot away from and put it to practice out there on the water. So thank you very, very much for coming on again, Denny. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I have one follow-up question to the last comment, but you done closed it out.
No. Go ahead. Ask your question.
Because what Denny was saying, what I was going to ask was, do you think that if they laid the tournaments out different times of year at different places, it would balance out the forward-facing shallow water fishing thing?
Oh, yeah, scheduling determines everything. It always has in tournament fishing. So you could lay out a whole schedule where it'd be nothing but forward facing, or you could lay a schedule out that it'd be very, very limited. So I'm sure they look at that as tournament directors even more now, since it's become so controversial about what lakes are going to go to when. Obviously, if they keep going to the smallmouth fisheries late in the year up north, they're pretty well always going to be a forward-facing type of event. So do you always want to have your angler of the year decided in the last couple of events on forward-facing? So there's a lot of different things to consider there, but scheduling has always played a huge part.
That might be the solution to balance things out. Hey, thanks for that answer, Denny. I just wanted to know what you thought on it real quick, and mean to hold you up a little bit longer. But, man, always a pleasure. Huge fan. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks again, Denny. Is there any last minute thoughts that you have for us or for the folks watching before we let you go here?
No, you guys do a great job, and I really appreciated you having me on.
Hey, anytime you want, sir. We're really thankful to have you on, and best of luck. Definitely, if you get a chance, send us some pictures. We're looking forward to seeing some tournament wins from down your way in the local derbies.
If Denny Brauer shows up at the local derby, I'm going home.
Thank you so much, Denny, for coming back on the show. I really appreciate you, man.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Denny.
Have a great night, Denny. Thanks again.
You too.
Well, that was awesome. Again.
I think we're still live, aren't we? Or no?
Yeah, that's why I'm like.
I didn't get to ask all the questions that people were asking. It's hard to keep up with them. You know what I mean? And you don't want to cut.
What happened?
So we're getting the camera set back up. Okay, we're back. So there you have it. Again, I can't even talk about it because we're so lucky to have Denny come back on with us again. This is the second time on the show now. Every conversation we have is incredible.
Yeah, he's a great
with
guy.
Denny. So I mean, you can't thank the man enough for coming and giving us his time and getting a chance to answer our questions, but more importantly, to answer y'all's questions.
I was trying to keep up with everybody's questions. They gotta understand, it's like they come in quick, and then while he's talking, they're gone. You know what I mean? The question done went by, and I cut them off to ask
It goes
the
really
question.
fast.
Yeah,
for sure.
so we do try to ask your questions if possible, as much as we can. Now we can say what up to everybody. What up, John Hanson? What's up, Pete? Douglas, yes, I'm Roberto De Niro. That's what you call me. That's right, son. Who else we got on here? You got to scroll up, Chad. I can't see. I know Brian Dyson was on. Thanks, Brian. John. I got to talk to you, John Hanson, about an issue I got going on with a car with my stepdaughter. I'm going to shoot you a message on
Gotta
Facebook
call
or something.
him.
Yeah, okay. I'll call him. You
Just
got to give me his number.
Tell me, I'll message John. I'll text them.
All right, I feel you. And who else we got on there, Chad? So we can thank everybody for joining in because we do appreciate the support.
Man, straight.
We had a lot of comments and a lot of questions rolling in.
We have
Chad's going down the list.
East Coast IV. Boom, 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 boom.
You look
Rob,
like
who's
you
East
need
Coast IV? You already know. Come on, dude.
the banana hammock. I mean the banana bag. I'm just playing. The banana bag, man.
The banana bags,
Look,
dude.
if you feeling dehydrated, if you had a riverboat Rob night and went too far, and you like, man, I can't. It feels like because Douglas actually, that's on, will tell you that I'd be dehydrated as hell. Like you need some water, man.
Dude, I'm
call
telling you right
East
now,
Coast IV.
Before you guys go to a tournament, before you guys go to a workout event, a marathon, whatever you guys got going on, you guys can go to East Coast IV, get you guys an IV bag, a banana bag, a bag filled with vitamins and minerals. Get yourself rejuvenated for that event that you have coming up. And I'm
Let's
here to
not
tell you
forget-
right now from personal use that East Coast IV works. So check them out. East Coast IV is located in Bell Camp, right off Route 40. Hit them up. Give them a call. Schedule a check-in. You can go there, or they will come to you for an extra fee. Hit them up.
Let's not forget the man that we was just talking about, Chad. It's John Hanson with Mobile Auto and Boat Pros. They will come to you and fix your boat or your car, even while you're at work. Go ahead. Tell them.
Mobile Auto Services and the Boat Pros. Mobile Auto Services and the Boat Pros will come to you for all of your car needs, your boat needs, your jet ski needs. I don't care what it is. If it's a combustion motor, they will take care of it for you. I actually had a nitro that I got rid of several years ago. I had them come out, service the motor, get it running right. I sold that boat a couple days later. It was fantastic and it was totally worth the money. I was at work while they were at the house taking care of my boat.
That's awesome, man.
I didn't have to worry about taking it to a shop, picking it up to a shop. It was where it needed to be. So let's go. I appreciate them. Thank you.
See, now in my situation that I was speaking on a little bit earlier is the car is not mobile. My stepdaughter, she kind of got ripped off on Facebook Marketplace. Now she's got this car that's sitting there. We don't know what's wrong with it. I need somebody to come look at it. So I'm going to hit them up, see if they can come take a look at it and let me know what's going on with it.
Yes,
You
sir.
know? I have no choice. She can't drive it. It won't start. It's got an electrical issue, you know. So have them take a look at it, see if we can at least get it running, get it somewhere we can get it fixed, or at least over to my house so I can look at it. You know, I just need them to come out and look at it. And it's a perfect solution because my only other option is to have it towed somewhere, which is not an option.
They're your boys.
Yeah, that's what I'm
They're your
saying.
boys.
Yeah, no.
Hit them up.
UMA
Hit
Lewis?
them up from Bass and Beer Radio.
UMA?
Oh yeah, man, for UMA lures. You already know how many bass I've been catching on UMA lures this year. I don't even put a crankbait down, and the only crankbaits that are on my rods is UMA lures.
And then we got Taylor Lures.
Hold up.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
you
saw
got
some of
one for
those,
me, don't
dude.
you?
Those look really good. So there, we got some new stuff from Taylor Lures that I haven't seen. Chad's got it in his hand. This looks awesome.
It's supposed to
So-
have one put up. You see a red one over there somewhere?
There was a pink
It's over
one.
here.
The red one was mine, dude. Chad said I could have it.
Hold up. Be gentle.
That's the whole reason I came over here to talk to Denny Brauer and get my frog.
So it's actually it's a mouse, but it has a tail like a frog. Usually the mice baits or the mouse baits have the long like mouse, excuse me, the mouse tail. But I mean, so that's I don't think that's no. Here it is. It's this one right here.
Nah, this is the
No,
one.
this one's
No.
mine.
It's this one. So
My brother would love that one.
shit,
You
I'll
got
pull it
some.
out of the package. But this is pretty neat, and I think Warren did a really really good job with this. So like I was saying, oh hold on, I don't want to rip the tail. So this is a mouse bait. Hopefully you guys can see that, but it has the profile of a mouse. It's not a frog. It has the pointy nose. Maybe the camera doesn't pick it up, but it has a single strand tail on it, which I think's really neat. I've actually never really seen that. Usually with the mice, you have the pretty like the hard plastic tail, not hard plastic, but like the single strand tail that looks like a mouse's tail. But this one you have this one here, so that looks really really cool. I really like the innovation that Warren and Taylor Lures did with that. It's pretty neat. I've just never seen anything like it. I think it's going to be really really cool. I would love to throw it. I can't wait to throw that thing.
It comes standard with those gaff hooks that come standard on every Taylor Lures. Bro, you can't bend these hooks, dude. I don't care what fish you're driving.
Oh no,
into.
yeah, hell no.
These fish, they're not getting away from that, dude. That is a hard hook. You cannot bend it down. That is a sticky hook. Deadly bait. Taylor Lures, dude. I'll tell you all day, every day. Taylor Lures, dude. Talk to Warren, dude. He's a good dude. I'm telling you, you'll come out with a color that you ain't never seen before.
Hey, Chad, can you bring the comments back up so we can see what the people are saying now that we got gave our sponsors they props that they deserve? Let's see. Dan Vaughn, what's up?
Hey,
Dan?
what's up, Adam?
Adam, what's up?
From JCS Marine.
Dude, well, that's right. Props to JCS Marines, Trick 10s.
Yes, sir.
We got a lot of people named. Did you see that new Project X video up where he was doing the wiring? Dude, did you see the rap? I saw the rap. Don't say nothing about it on the air if you saw it, but have you saw it?
I'm not talking about nothing, bro.
I'm just asking, have you saw it?
Yeah, I see.
Okay, all right. That's all I want to know. We can't say nothing else about it. I was just curious.
I
Have you
haven't
saw
seen
it?
it.
Let's see. What else we got going on, man?
Everything. Dude.
I got 3 days straight of gunpowder in front of me.
You going tomorrow?
But
Yes.
it's been
I'm going
weird,
tomorrow,
dude.
but
We'll meet up.
It's been weird.
Yeah, I gotta take my boat because it's going to be the first time putting it on the water since I did all the work. Like when I
Really?
get home tonight, I'm hooking the boat up. Well, actually, I got to cover on call tonight until the morning, and Douglas is covering it, so I'll probably hook it up just in case I get a call. I probably won't hook it up until the morning, but there go Matthew Downs right there. We was just talking about you, man. What's good, brother? He's got some stickers and stuff coming for. We got to hook up this weekend with getting people's packages. We already
Yes.
know. We already
Yeah.
know.
No, dude, we'll definitely link up.
Brian Dyson, where's everyone fishing this weekend? Brian, I'll be on the GP first thing tomorrow morning.
Oh, here's a question. Hey, Brian. So if it wasn't you, I apologize. But I was fishing the tournament on the Potomac last Sunday. I'm sorry, Sunday, and I could have sworn I seen you and Tom fishing. Not like close to me or nothing, but close enough to where I thought it was your boat. Was that y'all on the Potomac? I don't want to say
He's got
where.
Kevin's old Skeeter.
No,
Well,
he was
I
in
shouldn't say
Tom's
old
boat.
Skeeter.
It was in Tom's
Kevin's
Bass Cat.
Skeeter.
But if it was you guys, that would be funny because I was like, man, that looks just like Tom and Brian. You guys almost watched me catch one.
Did you see Adams' comment to you, Tony? He said they got an Armed Forces wrap on their Insta page. On their Instagram.
Ooh.
Somebody said you had a cicada on your shirt earlier.
That was
I don't
Bob Schaefer, and I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, June 20th.
Oh, look, Greg just put it. Okay, so
There
cool.
we go.
The
Woohoo.
date of the solstice.
June 20th.
June 20th. Practice starts tomorrow. I'll be out
Right. June 20th for the solstice. It's official. Greg just
there. That's
dropped it.
awesome.
We thought it might have
It's
been
on
the
the
20th.
comments, June 20th is official.
That's what Greg says.
Brian said that was, though.
Okay.
Hey, Greg, is the first one, so the solstice, is that going to be the...
I gotta get my way in here. It's June 20th is the solstice. Let's go!
So is that
Let's
going to...
go!
Oh, Lord.
Is that going to be is the first one going to be a Thursday or a Friday? Because usually the first one's on a Friday, but is this one going to be a Thursday as well? Because
Thursday.
I have fished them where they're on. Okay, so it's Thursday. Okay, too easy. Awesome. So the 20th is a Thursday. Back in the day, they used to be on a Friday.
Solstice was on a Friday, then the Thursday nighters would start up
But
after
Greg's
that.
telling me that it's on a Thursday.
Yeah,
this
you said
year.
it twice, dude.
It's not on a
Thursday.
Friday. Okay.
Hey, everybody, if you're watching the show right now, hit that like and the share button. We obviously cannot cut off Denny Brauer when he's talking, but hit the like and the share button. Help spread this podcast out there tonight. And, you know,
The solstice is
go,
so
man.
nice. Greg said it
I'm
twice.
so excited for the solstice, dude. Let's go. We got to get We had to get
I'm fishing it with my daughter, man.
Greg and Scott back here on the show. Talk about the solstice coming up.
I think Evan just signed me and Evan just signed up for the Ike Foundation tournament yesterday. Evan was texting me, so I think we're signed up for that. Greg said, yeah, because we always had a club tournament that Saturday after. That's why we kept it on Thursday. John Hanson said, come on, people, smash that like button. Thanks for the love, John. We appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. I want to know, is my brother still on? Because he has some questions, and he was like, man, you guys didn't answer my question last time. He felt left out. So we got to, come on, Pete, ask us a question. Dude.
I always try to answer everybody's questions when they're on here. I apologize if I don't get to it.
He's going to ask us about
Sometimes I'm
pink
overwhelmed
frogs.
with information.
It's going to be a question about
Or comments.
pink frogs.
So Brian's comment says they got a TBL on the Potomac next weekend, and I'm going to tell you right now, the Potomac. So I spent 3 days practicing on the Potomac before my club tournament, and it was by far the best. Jesus, what's he doing? Was he dropping something down the stairs?
Hey,
He's got a bone.
Sorry, Chad's dog's making noise.
He was going.
My
at it,
practice on the Potomac was the best Potomac fishing I've ever experienced. And I don't fish the Potomac a lot. I mean, you guys have all heard me say I don't like it because the drive's a pain in the ass. The river's huge. If there's any sort of wind, it becomes a nautical event to try to get around the Potomac. But I had a blast fishing the Potomac in practice, dude. I mean, 6.5 pounder in practice, multiple 20-pound days. I mean, it was just... I'm not saying I'm the man or nothing, but it was fishing really, really good. And then the rain happened, and it really stopped, like, instantly. My club tournament was very, very tough, like, unseasonably tough. Like, I mean, you guys know the guys in my club. The guys in my club can catch fish. Like, it was ridiculous that only one person in the club had a limit last week. I mean, that's unheard of for us on the Potomac. So I'm hoping it comes back with this mud getting out of here, because it was really, really fishing well in like the first week of April. Brian says it's heating back up. Like I said, I'm going to have to post a video on the page. And now that our tournament's over, I can post a video and I don't care. But I mean, I got me catching a 6.5 pounder on video.
Jeff was on here earlier. Jeff's the man up there on the Potomac. Him and CJ Craft, him and CJ Craft are the people to talk to up there. The hammers up there, man.
Dude, the thing about
good
the
dudes
Potomac,
too, man, real good dudes.
and fishing the DMV actually said it, and when I went and fished it, it makes a lot of sense. The Potomac has the structure and the real estate that the Bay doesn't have.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, like,
Grass,
you start, let's say and there's going to be guys that say, blah, 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 you can catch fish further south. The furthest south that you can probably win a tournament is Nanjamoy, right? But you go from Nanjamoy all the way up. I mean, you can go and catch smallmouth in the Potomac.
You go
Way
up past
up.
DC and on
Sure.
go up river, yeah.
We're talking like, dude, I don't know how many miles that is. That's got to be like 50, 60 miles.
I want to touch up on this right now, actually.
On
And
my wrap?
You can answer or you cannot answer.
Yeah.
Because I talked to you a couple days ago about the
Yes.
wrap, and I'm just interested. What's it look like?
So, okay, so where I'm at with the wrap right now, the transom is
You
done.
said you customized it.
So I sent the design in to John at JCS. So I told him what I want. I sent them some examples. I sent them the logos. So, excuse me, it's in the design phase as of right now. The
We met
transom,
Andrew Sims.
the transom of the boat is done. It's been done. The only thing I'm waiting for is for All Star Marine, who's been great. So I'll give a shout out. It's been All Star. Let me back up. The gentleman who's doing my transom is Joe. His name is Joe.
Bobs.
Sorry, Chad's dog's loud.
Shut up.
Yeah. Auto and Marine refurbishing. They do fiberglass work. He does a tremendous job. Does a really, really great job. And for boats, he's partnered with All Star Marine off of Holly Neck Road. So he has real estate in the shop and all that good stuff. So he's done the transom. The transom looks fantastic. I'm just waiting for All Star Marine to put the motor back on the boat. That's all I'm waiting for. It should be done this weekend. Again, I'm not complaining. They've done an awesome job. I told Joe and All Stars, like, look, man, you guys get it done whenever. I'm not trying to jump in front of line at anybody. I have a boat that I'm fishing out of. This is a project. It is what it is. I'm hoping I get to pick it up this weekend. If I get to pick it up this weekend, I'm trying to get the Bullet up to JCS Marine by the end of April. If not, very, very early in May. My next tournament is the 27th on the Gunpowder. If that goes well, I have the Bullet, I will take the Bullet up there on the 28th.
I gotta
What
get
does-
some. Oh, go ahead.
What does the wrap look like?
Okay, so the wrap, what I've done.
What did
Thank
you
you,
go
John.
with? What does the wrap look like?
So what I've done, are we still screen sharing? Can we share this screen? I'll show you exactly what I'm going with here, dude. You might as well give him a firecracker.
He has a freaking deer antler.
Is that
So,
what it is?
all right, so I'll explain it. For those of you that are waterfowl hunters and duck hunters and all that good stuff, the old school camo, right? We all know what I'm talking about. The old school camo that your granddad's got 550, jackets in that pattern. I wear the hat. I'm not wearing it tonight, but I wear the hat that I always wear that's got the duck on it with the camo pattern. I took that camo pattern. We're making it light blue like Bass and Beer Radio, the gold color that's on the bass, and white. So it'll be that pattern in white with the logos. So it's going to have UMA lures. It's going to have Bass Munitions. It's going to have Tailored Lures. It's going to have Ardent Rods and Reels, Mobile Mechanic, East Coast IV. All of the companies that have been with this podcast from day one.
Day one.
Those are the logos I'm putting on the wrap. So that and a Bullet's going to be on
Dude,
there.
we
obviously.
have some great sponsors.
Oh, yeah.
I have to get
Great
my
sponsors from day
info
one.
over to Adam. Actually, would Adam be Adam? Would you be the person I could send the measurements to? Remember, we talked briefly during the podcast. Like, if you said if I get you the measurements, you guys can design something up and we can negotiate and maybe just have it made and sent to me. I'm still working on some sponsor dollars though. I'm trying to the sponsors come through or not. If sponsors don't come through, then I'm just,
Dude, like
I don't know. I might
Super pumped.
I'm so excited.
Adam.
Like I
I'll
was,
get 'em.
Bro, your boat looks ridiculous.
It's getting there, man. It's getting there.
Your
yeah.
boat looks ridiculous.
Dude, the
You
weight.
got like 3 or 4 hatches from Matt Downs from Trick 10s. You freaking straight up. You didn't do carpet. You did the seafoam. You will not regret it.
Dude, they get.
You shaved out over 200 pounds of weight from the front of that boat. Bro, your boat is about to rip the shit, dude. Straight up.
Matt Downs gave me props on my turfing job I
It
did
looks
because
great.
I did the cut groove, which is a
So
little
good.
difficult.
It
but
looks so good.
Made it happen. Made it happen.
Absolutely, dude.
Depending on if the sponsor dollars come through or not, or I might be paying for the wrap in house. I know Givens Media offered. I got a couple offers out
Givens
there.
Media, dude. Hell yeah, dude.
Well, that wasn't going to be my title sponsor, but he offered to be. I'm waiting on the title sponsor to let me know are we doing this thing or
Did
not.
you talk
so.
to the skate park?
That's what I'm talking about, Charm. Sitting and wait for
Hell yeah,
Jason to
Charm
give
Skinny
me
boy.
100% yes on it.
so John asked, have I done a speed test on the Bullet? I've run the Bullet one time. The day I picked it up, I took it to Dundee and I ran it just because it's a 21-foot Bullet. I have to run it. Knowing that the transom needed to be replaced. So
He said he was running 80 miles an hour. His transom was doing this. Wah, wah, wah.
yeah, it was a little
Was it
sketchy.
like flexing like this, opening and closing.
I don't have a trim gauge on it. I don't have a water pressure gauge. I've never driven a fast boat before, and I got scared at like 78 miles an hour.
I bet so.
Dude, that's
That thing's
fast,
got
though.
way more in it.
That's fast.
Oh, it's absolutely, it's
fast.
ridiculous. I mean, like that boat, if I'm gonna keep the 225 on it for a couple years, like loaded, I should be seeing at least low 80s. And when I eventually put the 250R or maybe the 300, it's gonna be a 90 mile an hour boat.
That's what Adam just said. He
So
said you're
do
going to get it
about
close to 90.
Yeah, I mean, it's as
Adam would know.
well,
You
and
see
that's
Tony
the thing.
flying 90 miles per hour
Dude,
by you.
JCS, dude, them boys, dude, they know their shit about the boats. They know how to make a boat look good. Those are the boys right there. I'm telling you, if you have the ability to take your boat, go up north a little bit, JCS is the shop for you.
Yeah.
They
Oh, yeah.
really do, dude. They do the best job. They do the best job I've ever seen.
John said
Their
he's going to buy
their
a gambler.
restorations are unbelievable.
John said he's going to buy a gambler, and you guys should drag race.
Well, good luck to you, John, because I looked for a long time for a gambler. I was going to get one when they came back into business, and then as you guys heard from Andy last week, they are no longer in business, which, I mean, we all knew that, but Andy kind of told us a little bit of the details as to what's going on over there. Jesus, it's loud in here. And, I think Gambler's a great boat. I think it's a unique boat. I think it's a boat, but I think most importantly, I think Gambler is a niche boat. So, and what I mean by that is, we've all seen Gamblers before, right? There's no boat that looks like a Gambler. That sleek, swept back look. It's that, in my opinion, that perfect bridge between a go fast boat and a boat that you can still fish out of.
Like a Lamborghini.
But that being said, we're talking bass fishing here, right? A lot of people that fish there's a reason why there's no Gamblers on the tour, and there really never was. Even when they were huge back in the 90s, I don't know of any pros that ever ran Gambler. QJ Queen was the only one. It was the only pro that I know that ever ran a Gambler. I mean, there's a reason why guys traditionally run Triton, Skeeter, Ranger, Nitro, Phoenix, and then, some guys running Ballistic out there, a couple Bullets, a couple Blazers running around. It's because those boats are built for bass fishing, right? In my opinion, and the Bullet is not all Bullets. My model Bullet is a fast boat with a fishing platform.
Yes.
It's a boat that's built to go fast as shit that you can bass fish tournaments out of. Whereas a Ranger, that's a bass tournament fishing machine. It's built for that. And I have never fished out of the Bullet, but I can tell you just from walking around the front deck of it when it's on the water, it ain't like the Ranger.
Don't have the space.
It doesn't have the space. I mean, it's got space just because it's 21 foot, but it when you step on one side of the boat tilts. The storage layout is not, in my opinion, as good as as modern 21-foot boats. Now that being said, the Bullet 21, I believe it's the XRD, is basically the same boat as mine. So, but it's built for speed. Bullet has a 21 SS, like the one that Andy Morgan runs, for competitive bass fishing. They changed the pad. They changed the storage layout to make it more comparable to a Triton, to a Skeeter, to a Ranger. So, it's all about what you want. Like, personally, I'm building the Bullet because I got in a 21-foot boat, a hell of a lot cheaper than a new 21-foot boat. It's fast. I'm never going to get beat to a spot. And I've been fishing out of a 20-year-old Ranger for a long time. To get into a 21-foot boat
it's better than my aluminum piece of shit.
Sure, maybe the storage isn't great. Maybe the boat gets blown around a little bit more. It's still, to me, a huge upgrade. It's going to look great. It's going to fish great. And I'm going to not be $90,000 in debt. So that's why I did it.
Yeah.
And it's cool. I mean, nobody else that we know has a Bullet.
I don't think I would ever buy a brand new bass boat.
I wouldn't. I'm sorry. And I know Paul's not here to defend himself, but I would just never. I would just never.
He said Paul's not here to defend himself.
Like, I love Paul. We all love Paul, but like, I
did Paul
personally,
buy that boat brand new? Like, I don't pay that much attention. I didn't even know that.
Paul's boat, yeah, it's brand new from the factory.
I haven't seen it yet, man.
Did I haven't either?
It's a sick boat.
I'm not.
Sure
I'm not talking
That's
shit
all
at all.
mine.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to fish off Paul's boat. I think it's going to be great. But like, to me, like, I could, to get into this Bullet for $7,000, and even to do the transom and to put the wrap on, I'm still a tenth of the cost of a new boat at that point. A tenth of the cost of a new boat. And it's just, like, I don't understand. I mean, I don't get why guys, and I'm not hating. I'm really not.
I guess if I fish as many tournaments as Paul, I might, but
But it doesn't. To me, it doesn't matter. I mean, I could go out. Okay, well, I have the warranty. Okay, let's say I have to pay out of pocket for a new motor for the Bullet. Let's say I have to get a 250. I'm still $50,000 less of an overall payment. Yeah. That $50,000, dude. Like, okay, yeah, my hull's brand new. Great, I don't care. Like, your boat just doesn't stop being a boat at 18 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't happen. I mean, no offense to Chad, but like, look at Chad's scenario with the brand new Ranger.
Andy Hauser told him.
Brand new.
Andy Hauser said, "Sell it."
Yeah,
Sell it as quick as
Andy
you can."
Hauser was like, "Get rid of that
Sell
thing."
it. And like, if you don't think I haven't deeply considered what Andy Hauser has told me.
He was like, "Sell it as quick as you can."
Oh, dude, you know what we haven't talked about? And it's kind of funny. We didn't, because now we're into the shenanigans part for sure. We never even talked about.
We were deep into the
Dude,
Oh, it's
shenanigans.
after hours. We can be bad now.
We never even talked about the fact that I blew the transfer case on my truck up.
No, we did not talk about that.
I did see the text.
Dude, that
I didn't
was
have time to
fun.
reply back, but I
That
was
was a
reading
good
that.
So, tournament last Sunday on the Potomac. Long story short, I did well. I got in second place. Caught the only limit in the field. Congratulations to Mike Rupp, who was able to beat me out with a 4-fish limit and a couple big ones. So great job, Mike. You know, I'm coming home, and for anyone that's been to the Potomac, you know how ridiculously miserable the drive is in this area.
Greg.
So I'm coming home, you know, get through all the DC Baltimore traffic, and I'm like a mile from the house going down a hill, and my truck is an automatic, goes to downshift, and it sounded like somebody filled this beer can up with nuts and bolts and started shaking it violently. And I'm just like, yeah, that, and it's like, I'm like, oh, that's not good. That is so not good.
That's not good.
This ain't good.
I'm like,
It's not a good noise.
God, I hope I make it home. And then I put. So what do you do when shit starts making noise? Naturally, you freaking mash the accelerator, right? You put the
Is that what you
fuel
do?
to
Most
it.
people pull over.
No, dude, you put the fuel to it. So that's what I did. I literally floored it, and it went.
Put
whoop.
the fuel
Dude.
to it.
And
It'll
you know
work
what?
itself out.
The truck upshifted, and it was smooth. I was like, okay, maybe he was just hunting for a gear. I'm good. We're good.
It was just hunting for a gear.
All you gotta do is just hit the gas.
Hold up. It was just hunting for a gear.
When the truck
Yeah.
sounds like it's
I'm
gonna fall
totally
apart,
okay.
hit the gas.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, cool. The rattling sound has stopped. We're good. We're gonna make it home. Next hill I'm going down. It goes to downshift again, and that time it was bang, and I'm like, oh, it's done.
So you hit the gas again.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. As soon as I heard the bang, I put it in neutral, and I got to the bottom of the hill, and I put it back in drive, and there was nothing. I was like, shit. Pulled over the side of the road. I'm like a mile away from the house.
It's done.
Damn it.
Dude,
And it was done.
I
I
don't know
mean,
if Douglas is still on, but my
it's-
dumbass ran out of gas the other day.
I kind of got
Douglas was laughing at
lucky.
me.
It wasn't the transmission; it was the transfer case. So my transmission is still good. It literally was the transfer case in my truck just turned into a grenade. It exploded. I don't know what happened, but it
Greg
literally
said
exploded.
loud ass stinky truck.
It is a stinky ass truck.
Oh yeah, I think
That thing stinks.
we were missing a couple. I think Adam was on here saying that they got Rangers. They're working on Rangers. Always end up in their shop. John was saying Tony telling him to buy
He
a
said,
6.0.
I know what's wrong. There ain't no transmission in it.
Dude. So I told myself, I was like, if this transmission's blowed up, I'm gonna drop a manual in the truck.
If it's
And it was
blowed up.
not blowed. It was it was a transfer case. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna run it. I'm just gonna run it and just see what happens. I mean, dude, like I've had this truck for almost 8 years, and this is the first time it's ever not got me home. So I
Yeah,
really
that truck-
can't complain.
What year is that truck, Tony?
95.
Yeah, it's
it's
a
old.
1995.
It's an old truck, but like, dude, I've driven that thing like everywhere. I mean, I've driven it to VMI and back about 1,000 times. I've driven it to Canada. It's a driver, man. It runs. Like, it just won't stop running. I mean, even like, I could tell that even though I could not put it in gear, I was sitting there on the side of the road idling, and that truck wanted to go. It was like, put me in gear so we can tow this
I
heavy
ain't
ass
dead
boat.
yet. Come on.
Right.
That's funny, man. That's funny. You
John
know when
said do a
Tony's coming
burnout
on
the first day
Thursday,
back
right?
driving it. I
Oh,
might.
that's Tony coming. You hear him coming? Man, good show. I can't stay much
Great
longer,
show.
though, man.
It is about
Work's been
time.
tough, man. It's been tough.
That was a
is
really
long
good show.
week.
Very, very
Time.
happy that Denny came back
Long
on.
work week. You will see me on the GP tomorrow morning, man. I'll be out there. So
I'll be out there. I'm 100%
hopefully make
out
a
there.
new Maryland bass fishing episode. Hopefully, so it's been a while since I made one.
Everybody, we appreciate you joining tonight. We are out. It is the end of the stream. Peace out. Thank you guys.
Hey, thanks,
Thank you
guys.
guys. We really appreciate it.